everybody around the world. And where is our? I thought I had that on, or maybe it's in the backside there. But I'm still learning, guys. I apologize. Let's see here. There it is. Yay! All right. I'm gonna come back here. There we go. And unshare the screen. We are kind of learning, guys. Everybody here. This is Vinney Chopra and Bo Eckstein, your co-host. Your friends for Friday, 9:30 a.m. We come live to you from San Francisco and from Las Vegas. We've been doing it for, gosh, I think I've been doing it for 2 years, 2.5 years, Bo. Then you joined, buddy, and we're gonna have fun. I hope we're trying this new place, Restream. I know with the previous one, StreamYard, it was much easier, I thought. But anyway, we are learning it. We are learning it. How are you, Bo?
I'm doing well, doing well. It's been a very chaotic week, and sometimes in the lending business, it's very, very grueling. But it's really about resiliency, right? Like sometimes your wind gets it just you run into issues basically. Like and when I'm working with different banks, for example, like I had a deal that we were ready to sign, or we signed loan documents, right? And the credit union partner on it said, listen, your insurance isn't sufficient on the property. And they go, okay. And so he goes out, he gets another insurance policy, right? But his insurance goes from $4K a year to $9,600K, or yeah, 90, a little under 10,000, right?
Wow.
And so then they come back and say, okay, the insurance is good now, but your debt service coverage ratio is off. So we have to redraw loan documents and reduce your loan proceeds. And it's just like, we've already signed documents. We've already been like getting them everything. And it's just unbelievable. And you got to keep the borrowers calm, right? Because it's just so frustrating. And that's what I've been doing is I deal with stuff like that, which is just like, sometimes it's a very grueling business, to be honest with you, but that's what it takes. And, like you either can let that get you down and bum you out, but you got to learn how to say, okay, deep breath. Okay, everything's gonna be fine. Everything always works out. We just got to push. We got to push harder. And that was this kind of week, right? And I had a couple instances like that where it was extremely frustrating. But I think what I've learned over the years is that I do get worked up still. But I learned, okay, like you just got to like, I think how Elrod says it, like he had like a bracelet on. He says, he looks at it, he kind of resets himself, right? Because it's like, do you want this thing to ruin your day? Or can you just put it in a compartment in the brain and say, okay, let's move on. Let's be productive, right? Because I've been extremely productive. My phone's ringing off the hook. I've got clients everywhere. So I got to look at the bright side. It's just like when you hit these little frustration zones, it's extremely, extremely frustrating. And you gotta change the mindset, because it's a mindset thing at this time. So that's your go-to, Vinny. Because people got to understand, if you're doing a lot of deals in real estate, you're going to run into a lot of BS along the way, and you gotta push forward, and you got to be resilient.
You bet. You bet. If something is not working, you're so right, Bo. I mean, the key thing is, like you just mentioned it, man. Similarly, in our situation also, we are into multifamily, of course, conventional, and then now we are building assisted senior livings. And man alive, I mean, you keep on, keep on, keep on. for getting the construction loan. And it just takes so much effort and so much time and commitment, attorneys involved and this and that. And then the bank is asking for more and more and more and more. And then you just say, oh my gosh, I mean, why did they not ask that? Women, we've been sitting on it for 4 months, 5 months, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be quite treacherous. But the key thing is, like you said, money's out there, and sellers are there, buyers are there. We just need to keep calm and try to see, okay, how could we do it now? The DSCR, what you said, debt coverage ratio, you may have to look into some other avenues, I guess, right? To figure that out, right?
Yeah.
What would be the solution, though? Would it be reduction in price, maybe?
Yeah, so we're going to just basically lower the loan amount by $58,000. He was getting close to $1 million cash out on this deal anyway. So, I mean, I just don't like the fact that, like, I want it to be smooth for the borrower, right? The sponsor.
Yeah.
But I think part of this is that the truth being told is that I think the lending business is kind of brutal, right? Because these banks are quick to give you LOIs, but they keep on asking and asking and asking for documents, and I'm the middleman. I'm the one like trying to make it work. I'm trying to take that as much as we can, and get it in the front end. Because I'm doing just a bunch of different deals. I'm doing a deal right now where we're taking an office building and converting it to a hotel.
Yeah.
I mean, just crazy stuff. I'm using a lot of SBA financing because right now they're lending on because they're being aggressive on certain things. But it's really, getting all the eggs in. And there's just banks and credit unions are just a little bit harder than any other way to finance anything, to be straightforward with anybody, right? I mean, compared to like when you're buying multifamily and you're going to agency, right, Vinney, that's pretty a smooth process for you because there's not much moving parts. They actually handle that and it's surprising that you can go get $40 million a lot easier than you can get like $3 or $4 or $5 million. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to play the rules unless you become your own bank, right? That's the key.
So true. So true. Hi, Mark. Nice to have you. I hope anybody, we are on 3 channels, by the way. We're on Facebook, of course, LinkedIn, and YouTube. If you would like to share your name and where you're from, and please ask us questions. We come live to you on every Friday, short time, about 30 minutes, 29 minutes. And also we convert this into a podcast. Bo has a great podcast on lending, and he does it over there with the digital graphics and all. And also we have a podcast with the Syndication Made Easy in the syndication world for multifamily and assisted living, hotels actually now, and then the ground up constructions and all things like that. But no, you're right, Bo. So let's see here with what's happening in the marketplace, right? And what's happening with the Biden tax changes. I mean, these are proposals, but a lot of people are on an edge now, What's going to happen? What's your perspective on that, bud?
My perspective is that, like, if we're just looking at the multifamily and residential space, right? Like, I mean, there's no inventory. There's a high demand, and there's a lot of contradicting facts. Like I think yesterday came out and said, okay, you can start evicting again, right? And then it's like certain states said, no, you can't. And so you're seeing a lot of that turmoil. And it's like I understand how everything, from the renter's perspective to the landlord's perspective, right? Because I'm a landlord too, right? So I look at it from both perspectives. And listen, it seems like there's a lot of jobs right now. It seems like, considering we're in this pandemic, that it's surprisingly very bullish right now. And right, you are starting to say it's over bullish. And I think that's where you're like, so I think, fundamentally people, if you're buying real estate for the right reason from a cash flow perspective, then, you have nothing to worry about, if you're financing it right, you have good long-term debt. So I would just say that, the speculators of the world, because I was a speculator in 2007, and don't be a speculator, right? I mean,
True. Yes. Yes.
you can always speculate on certain allocation of your, whatever, right? But if you're speculating 100% and the market changes, and then that's when you go bankrupt. So I think a certain allocation of speculation is always good if but it shouldn't be 50% or maybe 20%, right? 25%. And so I think that's, people just need to be aware of what's going on, and they need to be, when they're doing projects, they need to be aware that, material costs are super high right now.
Yeah. Lumber
Which
is gone through the roof, man. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So I think the next phase of what I'm going to be doing is probably doing a lot of problem solving as far as mid-construction financing, acquisition. Like so that people are going to run out of money. That happens a lot in construction, and then all of a sudden they're like either doing a capital call or they're looking for another equity source. So we actually can fund some of that, and so we'll probably see a lot of that kind of thing. We'll probably see. Some operators in the multifamily space that got in over their head, they'll have to sell. And I don't know. I think affordable housing, people need a place to live. So I just continue to see that, because I mean, really, you're going to see more urban sprawl. You're seeing more people move to places that they weren't before, and now they're like, they're community. Even like Las Vegas right now. Las Vegas was ranked the number one for a single family highest rent growth in the nation, which I was like, what the heck?
Yes.
But if you drive around here, you can see people are moving here. I mean, we got a vibrant community, and now it's diversifying from just hospitality, and they're opening up casinos to 80% occupancy now. So I know some of my friends are coming out to go to the pool parties, and so it's interesting times. I don't know. I'm business for me is booming. And I'm just focused on every day, right? I'm focused on taking little baby steps every single day for improvement, and it works. So that's, no matter if the market goes down or goes up, I'm ready for it, because I'm 100% focused to be the biggest and best, originator in the West. So
love it.
That's where I'm at.
Mark is asking, like, how are your appraisals coming in now? High, low, or expected? Doesn't the appraisals kind of move with the price that people are paying? Isn't that right? The demand. What's your
Yeah,
take?
I mean, we were just anticipating on an appraisal. It was a small deal, like in the Bay Area, but on a multifamily, it actually appraised a lot higher than the sponsor thought. And so that was, that's good news whenever your property appraises like a couple $100,000, or sometimes, over what you thought when it was only a $2 million. He thought was worth like a $2 million. It's like a 2.4 million kind of thing. So that's a pretty good surprise, right? Like that, the appraisers evaluating higher. I mean, when it comes down to it, actually, I just saw a deal that was, it was an ALF, but it was like it was kind of more of a conversion project where they're converting from, it's like a interesting, but I was surprised that they valued the property at $23 million after completion. Because it was, like I even said that's a little bit bullish, because, I've seen a lot of appraisals on ALFs lately. And I would have said, probably looking at what I've seen, that was probably like, they were just extremely bullish. So I guess to answer your question, Mark, it depends on the appraiser, but I'm seeing things sometimes like that are kind of surprising, because I thought that would be more of a $18 or $19 million stabilized value.
Wow.
It was a 23. So he seemed to be, he seemed very bullish. So,
I was going to say something came in our mail, and I'm just showing it here. We live in Danville, which is a suburb of San Francisco. And I got this little thing from Compass Realtors, saying that people are paying almost 300,000 above the asking price in our neighborhood. I mean, 300, 216, 201, 170. I know our daughter, Monica, lives in the city, and she's looking into purchasing her first home. And she was sharing that just last week, one level of the condo, I think, sold for 3.25 million. I mean, it just came out in the market and sold. So I think demand is there. I think a lot more inventory is very low. So that's why people are really focusing on paying more. And I think appraisal again, what I've found is it's like with the loan can be gotten, right? Appraisal of the property, would that be dysfunctional? That's a good point, Bo. You've been in this industry. I mean, if this bump goes up, right, and people pay 300,000 more for the same property, and then the loan is given, and now after about a bubble is burst, let's say 6 months, then it goes down. Of course, the bank is then now at a fault because they gave more loan than the coverage and all. Yeah. What do you
So,
think?
so yeah. So really, what's going to happen, in my opinion, in the residential space is that you
Mhm.
got a lot of these first-time home buyers getting FHA loans.
Yeah.
FHA loan lends at 97.5% of the value of the property or the purchase price. So assuming it appraises at that, sometimes people overpay and it doesn't appraise, and then they have to renegotiate or move on. But what happens? The good thing is rates are really low, so that's good. But what happens when that person gets relocated, right? And then the market drops 10%, and now they can't sell without doing a short sale. What are their options? They don't want a short sale, right? So that's where there's a lot of opportunities for real estate investors to come in. And I do think it's a little too bullish to be paying, X amount over list price. I mean, when I used to sell a lot of houses, we would list low, sometimes knowing that it was going to bid up, and that's kind of part of the game in certain markets. But I do feel that it's a little crazy right now, and that at some point it will slow down because just the affordability factor. Not everybody has $300 or $400 or $500 extra $1,000 to put an extra couple $100,000 on a property, and so I do think that. But I do see it. I think like the world has changed completely, right? The world is now, everybody's I think the mindset of people is like, listen, we never expected COVID to happen. Now everybody's more like, let's live in a place that is more more functional. So you're seeing a lot of people, like in my neighborhood, I'm starting to see people, there's these like prefabricated sheds that could be home offices, right? So it's like, people are building these in the backyard. These prefab companies come and put these things in, and they're really cool. I'm thinking about doing one in my backyard to make a film studio. So I think you're seeing people like, okay, let's strategically, let's relocate. And I'm seeing it across the board. I'm doing a lot of email marketing to potential clients, and I'm getting a lot of people like, oh, we're moving here. So you're seeing it more and more. And so I think the world's changing to a certain degree, but the basics are always going to be there. People need a roof over their head.
Yeah.
And 10,000 baby boomers are turning 65 every day, or whatever that number is. And so there's a massive shift happening in a lot of ways. And I think that there's a lot of conflict in the world. Some people are like, well, you need to be vaccinated. You need to and some people are like very paranoid. And then there's people that like don't care. They'll never wear a mask, right? And so I don't know. And then I look at like what's happening in India, right? Like, okay, look, they're densely like populated, and look what's happening there. I just saw it was disturbing, and I was thinking, like, I have a lot of Indian friends, and I was thinking, God, there's so many deaths. Like, this was like a week ago that they were like burning bodies, like, of these dead people. I mean, and like, so like my thought is, hey, it's real, right? Like, it's real. And I was going back and forth on the vaccination, and I'm not making this political or anything. And like, I've never gotten a vaccination other than when I was a child, and I like kind of refused to. But I started thinking about it, right? And my mom and dad were like, listen, you should get vaccinated. They keep on plugging in, but it's not for me. It's because my mom, had cancer. She's healthy now, but she's susceptible. So like, I shouldn't be selfish in not doing it to, potentially, not get her sick, right? So I looked at it that way. I had a good conversation with a potential client yesterday. So I think we have to think about all this stuff. I don't like to be political about things. I'm kind of I like to have my opinions, but keep them to myself pretty much. I think I like that, because I don't want to always make things political. I don't like going on LinkedIn and reading people's like pro this, pro that. It's like, hey, let's let's function on just one thing, which is making the world a better place. And then, let's have our opinions, but let's save it for, certain discussions.
So true, Bo. And actually, in our house, I think last week and this week, we had workers coming. We got the new entertainment center, whatever, the cabinets pulled out and pulled in, and then the painters and rodent people came all over. So, I mean, my wife was asking, she says, are you vaccinated yet? And she made a lot of pitches with them, literally, and changed mind of some of the people. They had not been vaccinated. So it's so important that we just, do our best to keep America safe, I guess. We are not politically, this way or that way, but it's just that you will be safe and other people will be safe. You bet. You bet. No, again, the big thing is even in multifamily, I mean, same thing, Bo. The market is so hot. I mean, I predicted in about 6 months in 2021, we'll start some big, properties, small or big, will come out in the open and the sellers will be selling. But it's not happening. I think somehow we are finding the demand is so much. I think, that the sellers are feeling, hey, why don't I just keep it for another 6 months or a year and then I'll sell it, where the moratorium on the evictions will be gone and my delinquencies will be lowered and concessions will be gone. Then the net operating income, NOI, is going to be higher than what it's today. So those kind of things.
And then also, like, I was listening to you about your Austin property, right? Like, like you got in there and bought it at a good time, and all of a sudden it just, I mean, it was booming before, but it seems like you bought it at like an opportune time, and then it, it's just like the boom town of the United States. It's like every Austin. I haven't been there in like 2 years, but
Yes.
love to go visit again. But it's just thriving. So even like things like that was a total. I think going back to like what you've preached and you've been successful is finding the emerging markets, getting in, after the momentum's going, right, getting that shot, and then exiting out in a few years and making, essentially millions of dollars.
And that was amazing. I mean, I'm so glad I went there and put a little hard work, and we exited both the properties and made almost 7 plus, what was that, $12 million increase
In Georgia?
In Georgia.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
properties. One I bought for 10 million, sold for 15. Another one for 12 million, sold for 18 or something, right? So that was very good. No, I just was going to mention to the audience, don't give up. Don't give up, because there are nuggets out there. I mean, we went to Austin just in the COVID, right? We bought it in middle of September, and the brokers tell me, Vinney, you can make 7 million today. If you want to sell it today, 6 months later, you can make 7 million, because we bought at 112,500 a door, 308 units near to the domain. And I just underwrote two properties, Bo, 143,000. Oh my gosh, 143 and 153,000 per door. So it's just, outlandish where the valuations have gone higher because of the compression in the cap rate. That's the other thing, right? When the neighborhood is getting better and bigger and more demand is there, the cap rate shrinks. Like, we just put our 52 million, not on sale yet, but we just sent the information to the brokers to get brokers price opinion, BPO or BOV, brokers opinion of value.
Is this Florida, you mean?
Florida, yeah, Orlando area, exactly. Because we bought it at 6.5 or 5.4 cap rate, and it's gone down to 3.25, I was told. So it's just amazing how these cap rates have compressed, and that's why I think we might exit earlier than expected. Why not, right?
Well, yeah, no, I think if you can, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, Vinney, like, it's probably like a really good time to be, even though like there might be some meat on the bone still for the next year or two, but maybe not, right? And so if there's an opportunity to take the money and run,
Yeah.
right, and make the everybody's happy. I mean, even if you have sometimes like an early payment penalty, but you've had such a huge run. It's
Yeah,
just like, hey, let's sell and make a couple $1 million, right?
surely,
Like
sure.
it's like, there's gonna be other deals that come around. This isn't the only deal, right? But it's a good time to sell. And I think that's where you've done really well. Is like, saying, okay, let's buy here, let's sell, and you're not like in love with the property, and you're not like saying, a lot of investors want to hold their whole, hold this property for your whole life. You're more of a momentum investor, and it's like, that's how you were able to like grow your net worth so fast, right? Like, because it's like, yes, you can get rich slowly, that works. It works for most people, but also you can make these quick strikes, and also from a timing standpoint, it's probably good when you're like, you're buying it when it's starting to come up, and then you're selling before it peaks, because if you miss the peak, then maybe you hit a soft market, and then
So
it's not as easy to sell. Right now, you put on the market and you're getting, multiple offers,
yes.
and you're getting these big institutional buyers that have so much money, they just need to deploy it, and they don't, they're not as concerned as the smaller kind of syndicator, because there's
Right.
so much money out there.
So true, so true. But what you're just saying, so very true. The key thing is to leave that, like meat on the bone, we call it, for the next buyer. Why would they like to buy then, right? So they need to also see the upside, and in our property, upside is really good if they can even, put more money into it to do more value add, like we have done some. They could even go further. So that's how, it's a good way. Same thing when I sold in Atlanta. I mean, the new buyers are going to put 2.6 million, I think, in renovations of that 191 units. And they're going to bring that baby from 19 million to 24 million, in couple 3 years or so. So it's good to make and then leave it. The other thing is the IRR. Let's just talk about that, because a lot of people, they just say, "Oh, I want high IRR." High IRR, right? But it's the time value of money. So if you pay the money quicker back through a refinance, a waterfall, then your IRR can go way high because you got return of the capital back given sooner. But then what's left in there, you may make less cash flow, but still it's gonna not hurt you. So I think, the key thing for any kind of passive investors or active investors should be looking at is, what are the different places where they will get their capital back sooner. That increases the IRR. Don't just put apples to apples. If it's 5 or 7 year old, but they might be giving you great returns, cash flow and equity gain, but because of the waterfall, it might increase it, right there.
Right, and they can deploy more capital into other investments,
Exactly. For
and
sure.
hopefully get the same supercharged year or two of holding, as opposed to like holding it for a long term, and so it works.
It does. It does. I mean, also, I've been always mentioning that, and people know it too. I mean, the property can just go up at a, diagonal, going higher and higher. But with the market cycles, the value goes up and down after 5, 6, 7, 10. I know we had the biggest bull, 12 years bull, lately, the 13 years. But now still, the thing is, the prices cannot just keep on increasing. So that's why I believe in the model of selling in 5 to 7 years or even 3 to 4 years, and then reapplying it in another emerging market where you could get a big bump. So doing it like that to reach the bottom of some markets and then try to sell there. You can't always time it, but that's why we are doing the $50 million fund, which is a 506C fund. This is the C fund, means for accredited investors only, Bo, right? And anybody could come in there. Anybody, meaning not pre-existing relationships. you don't need to know Vinny Chopra, but you could find out about me on YouTube, on Google, and everywhere, right? Facebook, LinkedIn. But you could invest in the diversified fund. I wanted to just mention to the audience who will be listening in, watching us, it's a diversified in the sense it is not just one fund with just multifamily in it. It's multifamily at different stages in it, where some will be the cash flowing conventional multifamily, which we have been doing it for 29 of them. And this is our 35th offering, 35th, syndication. And the ground up senior assisted living. That's another good part in this one, where there is a huge potential in development. Then also purchasing the senior assisted living once they are upbuilt and also stabilized. That's the third arm. And then the fourth one is the hotel arm, where we purchased that. Oh, did I mention to you the one Hilton Garden Inn we purchased for 6 million is worth 11 millions today? Oh my gosh. I can't believe it, Bo. This was December 31st of 2019. We purchased it. It was worth 8.7 at that time, but we paid 6 million. But then during COVID last year, we got lucky because the medical staff in that town, they chose our hotel to stay in. So the occupancy was consistent and all. But then we just refinanced it, and the valuation came at 11 to 13 million. Oh my God.
Oh, speaking of that, Vinny, I have a deal that I'm trying to help a client fund, and it's a smaller deal, but actually I want to show it to you to be maybe
Okay.
maybe he could be in the GP side, but I like his business model. He's super smart, and he's doing a hybrid model. He's taking he's taking distressed hotels,
Uh-huh.
and he's converting into a multifamily
Apartment? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's a little different. He's taking 100 units, 100 keys hotel.
Yeah.
Now when he does this, he's going to take it over. It's basically been completely mismanaged. No question about that. The original sponsor paid millions for it, ran it to the ground, has dementia now, and he just gave up on it. And the bank doesn't want to. So he's got an opportunity to buy it like under $30,000 per key. Very cheap. It's like replacement cost is like 3 or 4 times what he's getting it for. I mean, so basically he's going to be all in at 3.4, 2.6 million acquisition, 800 capex, I think. Stabilized value is 6 million. So he's taking out of the 100 keys, he's taking 70 to multifamily, and he's keeping 30 as a boutique hotel, which will be daily and weekly stays. He's done it 2 different times. He's super sharp. And I think
about that. Surely.
Maybe you want to get in on the on this because it's I know it's not a huge deal, but I think it's a good moneymaker is what I'm saying.
Oh, wonderful. No, we would love to. We want to thank everybody who's watching us. Please join us every Friday at 9:30 Pacific or 12:30 Eastern. And you could reach me at Vinney, Vinney, Vinney at vinnychopra.com. And Bo, they can reach you how, buddy?
Sure. Just go to boeckstein.com or Google Bo Eckstein, BeauEckstein. You can find me. You can find old clips of my HGTV TV show and
right.
A lot of my YouTube. So
for sure. And both of us have YouTube channels on Google also. Again, I have a website also, Vinney Chopra, Vinney, Vinney, Chopra, Chopra.com. And we are trying to put a lot of different things into this Restream, the new studio that we are using now. And we'll be able to post it, like you say, on all the different social media channels. Thank you so much, everybody joining. We appreciate you. We'll see you next week, 9:30 Pacific or 12:30 Eastern. And let me see if I could share, John. Again, I have to kind of try to understand this whole thing here with going out on the other side, the outro. We'll see you again next week. Bye-bye. Okay, let's see. There we go. right, we'll end this stream here.